I actually maybe want to answer that question a different way by maybe focusing more on, I think, another product announcement that you guys had this week, which was Automations 2.0, which we're using along with data streams.
Yeah.
I think like both of you guys focused on UX, and that's obviously super important for us as well. So this is why obviously we're using data streams. I think others have in the past, in order to avoid the UX issues of having very slow updates, basically gone towards building their own Oracle system, their own in-house Oracles, or using, for instance, Chainlink's DON and sourcing their own APIs. I think actually what we're really interested in, and this is enabled really by automations as well, for all of the non-user triggered orders, so for liquidations or stop losses or like or limit orders, is sort of the limiting the bias or the opportunity for the protocol itself to have bias or have sort of adverse selection or adverse incentives in terms of how any of these non-user triggered orders are performed. And so for us, really combining both the automations and the low latency feeds allows us to disintermediate the process of either like selecting the price that's being put on chain or deciding or whether or not sort of non-user triggered orders are actually executed in the way that they should be, at the price that they should be, and at the time that they should be. And I think you see for a lot of DEXs, and a lot of this has just come down to sort of infrastructural limitations that's now changing with, exactly as you mentioned, this data streams and automations. You can sort of, maybe outsource isn't the right word, but sort of disintermediate. You as a DEX don't need to be both sourcing the price feeds, which can obviously create an adverse incentive if, for instance, you're trading on your own exchange and you're supposed to be getting liquidated. You might not post a price, or you might post a price that's slightly higher if you should have gotten liquidated. So that's sort of on the price side, and then on the automation side, basically you could withhold, for instance, liquidations for a certain asset or for a particular trade. You obviously have seen this with centralized exchanges. There's a lot of stories with the exchange that shall not be named. But I think we're really excited both about the better UX, but also really about the ability to create a more unbiased and disintermediated protocol experience that users can have trust and faith is actually executing trades and embodying the principles of DeFi. I think last thing I'll say is I think a lot of people trade in DeFi thinking that it'll absolve them or it may ensure that they won't face a lot of the sort of decentralization and bias risks that centralized exchanges have. That's just not always the case, because people often will build in-house solutions or solutions that enable them to be biased against traders. So we're trying to eliminate that.